If you've got a question for Coach, just pop a Q or question in the chat. We'll start with Jason.
Hey, Penny, do you have any good Jalen Crutcher stories?
Jalen is just, not funny, but just training him when he was younger, just saw the potential in him. Always crafty, always smooth. Could really, as he got older, got stronger, started shooting it deeper, and has been a problem for that conference ever since he's got to University of Dayton. And I've been proud of his growth. He's been a leader, and he's one of the top point guards in the country. And we also share the same birthday. He never lets me forget that. So every time our birthdays come around, we always either DM each other or text each other happy birthday every year.
Yeah, it seems like this matchup was almost destined to happen one way or the other. You guys were supposed to see him possibly in South Dakota earlier this year, and now the NITs made that happen. So what's the kind of the mood around the program, knowing that you guys are going to keep playing and it's going to be back in Texas?
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet. Obviously, everyone wants to make the NCAA tournament, but it's also much appreciated to the NIT for not only choosing us, but making us a #1 seed, and also play against a great Dayton team, well coached by Coach Grant, the previous last year's coach of the year in the country. So it's going to be a good test for us.
Danielle?
Penny, you don't have a ton of guys who have a lot of postseason experience beyond conference tournaments. It's maybe Alo, and I don't know if Landers went to the NIT or NCAA when he was at Virginia Tech, but how important is it to kind of let these guys know what they're walking into, or is it even possible to prepare them for something like this?
I don't really think it's possible, Danielle, honestly, because postseason is just different. It's just everybody has a clean slate. You can throw the records out of the door, out of the window, and you just got to go play. And you got to be better than what you were in the regular season, because everybody's going to have a scouting report on who you are. And when they go into that game and you're one of the top players, they're going to try to take you out. They're going to try to make you play to your weaknesses. So the only thing I can say is that's what's going to happen, but you can't really tell them until they get into the action how it's really going to be.
How much emphasis are you going to be putting on watching film from the AAC tournament?
Probably not going to watch any film from the AAC tournament. We already know who we are. We know what mistakes we made from playing Houston the week before. We played them right back the following week in the AAC tournament. We knew what it was going to take to win that game, and it didn't happen. What we have to do is focus in on Dayton right now, and in the room for error. The errors that we made, we already understand, and we'll make up for those, and we'll work on those in practice all week.
Mike?
Hey, Penny, a couple of weeks ago, you said that you didn't know for sure if you would accept an NIT bid. When you realize everything that you and the guys have gone through this year, you've seen other programs say they didn't want to go to the NIT. You've asked a lot of your players since November with all of these checks and balances over COVID. How hard was this decision to ask them to continue to go through all of this testing for a tournament? No disrespect meant, but it's not the NCAA, it's the NIT. So how much did you talk to your guys about whether or not you really wanted to do this and go through it, or just the opportunity to continue to play was too much to pass up?
No, I said that earlier because I was just hoping that we could just take care of our business and get in, and we had an opportunity to do that, and we didn't get it done. But it's never a knock on the NIT. Obviously, we want to be NCAA teams, and that's how you get judged on this level, and not the NIT. But the NIT is still filled with great teams, and you have an opportunity to win a championship. But I never spoke to the team about whether they wanted to, or whether I wanted to or not. We knew that we were going to go if it was the case, because we wanted to continue our postseason. But I was really still hoping that we would win the AAC and get into the NCAA.
So is the goal now to, at the end of this, only 2 teams are going to end the season with a win? And is that what your talk to the guys are? Hey, it's not where we want to be, but we can end the season as champions and only one other team's going to be able to say that?
Absolutely. But we do have to, be thankful because there are a lot of teams that want to be in the NIT. And we do know that. And it is another opportunity to win a championship and be one of two teams that finish the season with a win.
Christian?
Penny, what was your strategy after the game the other night? Because I know it was a tough loss. I know the players were upset. So what was your strategy and how did you handle that mentally and kind of flipping their mentality? Look, guys, we lost the game. It's tough. We want to go to the NCAA, but now we have to look forward to playing again and kind of get back into the mentality of playing and not being worried about a loss.
Yeah, I just kind of spoke to the team and talked about the season as a whole and how proud I was of them for keep fighting. The season started off really poorly, and we kind of, got it going and got better and better, and it became fun at the end because the guys were really locked in and they were allowing themselves to be coached and they were cheering for each other. So I thank them for changing who they were to mold themselves to make the team better and working hard. But that part of the season is over, and we hope that we can get a bid. Hopefully we had shown enough against Houston that we were a tournament team, but obviously our resume didn't show that, and that we'll be in some postseason. I was pretty confident that we would be NIT if we didn't make the NCAA, and let's get ready to play against whoever we're going to play against and be ready to win that if that were the case.
Mark?
Hey, Penny. As you reflect, I know you got the NIT up, but as you reflect on what you guys did this whole season, where would you evaluate like where the program's at here as you're closing in on year 3 of your tenure? Obviously, like you said, you want to be in the NCAA tournament, but there's obviously also been things where you've made progress this year. Where do you put the program at now? I guess a progress report at the end of year 3 here.
It's really weird that you asked that because I came in the first year, I had to play with Coach Tubby's team, who he recruited. The following year, James Wiseman gets on probation. Lester Quinones is hurt for like 6 games, and then DJ Jeffers is hurt for the remainder of the season. So I didn't have my team, and then the season gets canceled. This year, not having DeAndre Williams for the first 7 games, and then getting him back, and then Alex Lomax gets hurt right before we get to the end of the season. We're playing as good as basketball as any. So, man, it's just, as far as my tenure, it's just been really unlucky what's really happened because we really haven't had any footing. But as far as where we're going with the identity now of understanding who we are and how we're going to play, I give that an A because we're defending what we're supposed to defend. Last year, number 1 in the country, and this year, number 1 in the country. So our defensive opportunities and situations are off the charts. Offensively, we have to get better. We have to do better in that area. But overall, man, I would say this year, starting off, it was more of a D-, and then it ended up being a B+, and it's headed in the right direction.
And then totally different topic. This week, it just so happens, Precious and James back-to-back games are going to make their return to Memphis against the Grizzlies at FedEx Forum. As you look at it now, I saw the article where it sounds like you're pretty involved, certainly with James still, and maybe Precious too. But as you look at what they've accomplished so far as rookies, what they did at Memphis, did or didn't do, what's their, I guess, impact been on the program, even though, they obviously were only here 1 season, and in James's case, less than that.
Yeah, anytime you have 2 kids go as high as they did, James being the number 2 pick, and then where Precious went in the draft, that impact is huge because the kids who want to come here know that we can get kids to the NBA. Now, obviously, I helped develop James more in high school than I did in college because he wasn't here long. He went to Miami. But Precious was a full year of just developing him. I had more time with James than I had with Precious, but both of them gave me all they had in the time that we were together. And you could see both of them just get better and better every week, every month. And to see them now living out their dreams is, it's like being a proud father of your sons that work so hard to get to where they want to get to, and they got rewarded. So James is struggling a little bit more than Precious because to me, he missed the season and he needed to play. And Precious is doing better because he played, was player of the year and freshman of the year. But James's talent and his potential is through the roof, and he's going to get better and better as the time goes. And he went to a system that needs him to be great right away versus, Precious going to a team that was just in the NBA Finals.
Thanks.
We'll finish with three more. We'll go with David from Dayton.
Coach, you mentioned Jalen earlier, and you've known him for a long time. Do you remember when you first met him or how old he was then?
He was in middle school. He probably was in 6th grade. Little bitty, scrawny little kid, tiny kid out there handling the basketball, had good skill, and was kind of flashy. He was spectacular in middle school, and you could just see the potential in him. And as he grew and got bigger and stronger going into Ridgeway High School, you could just tell, man, he started shooting that ball like crazy and controlling the team, becoming a great floor leader, floor general, and he played for a really good coach that taught him how to be a college point guard before he actually got the Coach Grant at Dayton. So he was taught well.
Have you ever met Coach Grant? So you guys cross paths on the recruiting trail or anything like that?
Yeah, I've spoken to Coach Grant on numerous occasions out on the trail. I always had a lot of respect for him, even when he was at Florida. Just saw the hard work that he put in, and just a really good coach.
2 questions left. We'll go with Jason.
Penny, it sounds like you're pretty confident about the direction of the program and the state of the program and all that stuff. But this offseason is going to be unlike any other, with the expectation that the transfer rules coming up. So how are you approaching that? Or that's something that's, I would imagine, that's kind of front of mind, top of mind right now.
Well, honestly, winning the NIT is, Jason, not to, be rude to your question or whatever, because I really want to win this tournament for our city, for our team, for the fans. And then after that, let the chips fall where they may. I'm sure some of these guys might be thinking about leaving, and some guys might be thinking about wanting to come to Memphis. And we don't know yet until the season is over and we sit down with these guys. But it's going to be a crazy offseason for a lot of coaches and a lot of teams, with everybody being free to go, as so to say, and get to a team without any penalty and still be eligible next year. So we'll see how this goes. But right now, my mind is really on the NIT.
Last question, Danielle.
First up, do you have an update on Alo?
I do not have a percentage update on Alo. I see that he's walking much better, but the style that he plays with, it just 50% of his ankle might be, 80% the other people. So, he plays so hard, and how he plays defense and how tenacious he is. So I'll ask him today or tomorrow what his percentage is in his mind of where he is, but he's walking much better. He's starting to do things on the court. I just don't know as far as competition of getting out on the court, running, jumping, cutting, where that is right now.
And then you mentioned earlier telling the players that you were proud of how some of them were able to mold themselves to help the team's success. Can you give some examples of that?
No, just as a team, we just weren't together early on. We were struggling with egos. We were struggling with staying together. We were struggling with doing it for the team instead of an individual. Other teams, SMU, Tulsa, Temple and UCF getting COVID, we got closer. And then the last time when we were off 3 weeks and we bonded together, that the guys really just kind of bought into what was being taught and buying into each other and wanting to win. And you could just see that in our play.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.